Hi there, it's Vanessa here from the Kraftible team, and I thought I'd just do a little video on how we made the tool caddy that we are gifting at the February event this year in 2024. So we've made these tool caddies and they are designed to hold your liquid glue, so that goes in that little hole there. And then you can use the other areas for your snips, your bone folder, and all the other tools. I've got an embossing buddy here somewhere that would go in a little container, so that would not quite fit in there, but you get the drift. Yeah, so these really cute little caddies we made as a table gift for each person attending the event, and this is how they were made. It's all decorated with the beautiful Nature Designer Series paper, which is called Nature's Sweetness. It's a 12 by 12 pack of paper. Beautiful, beautiful paper with gold through it, and that's what we've used to decorate your caddy with. Okay, so bring in my trimmer. And I thought this would be a little lesson on cutting up paper, because I get asked a lot about cutting paper, and some people don't know that the trimmer has this arm that swings out here. So that's just on the side. You just give it a little tug and it folds right out and is level with the measuring and that part at the top that you use to press the paper against to make sure it's straight. So we'll get started on that. So the first thing is you need about 2.5 sheets, I think it is, of this of the base paper, whatever colour, and you could use different colours for the different boxes, but we've used pecan pie for the whole project. So one of the first cuts is to do a one of the pieces is 8 inches by 8 inches. So what you do is you get your, and we're going to cut this little strip off down the side first. So we'll bring it across to 8 on the ruler, and you can see I've got it pressed right up against the top there. So that should mean that the card this way is level and it's going to cut evenly. So then we just cut. So you've got 2 blades. The darker one is the cutting blade and the lighter one is for scoring. So we've just cut that piece off, and I don't need that for anything, so I'll put that to the side. Then I'm going to turn my paper, and again using that top ledge, if you like, to make sure it's straight, move it across to 8 again. So this is 8 by 8, and this cutting blade you can do in either direction. So I went up before, now I'm going to come down. And if you're cutting smaller pieces, you can lean on the ruler to keep the piece of paper steady and in the right place while you bring that blade down. On larger pieces you can just hold the actual piece of paper. Okay, now we need this piece. So I've got my 8 by 8, and then this piece we're going to turn back to the first direction and do at 7.5. So I'm just removing that little 1/2 inch piece there. Okay. Now we have some scoring. So on the 8 by 8 piece, we're going to score all 4 sides at 2 inches. So now I'm using the 2-inch mark, and I'm going to use the scoring blade. So you can go up and back, I find is quite good to get a nice deep score. The scoring board is slightly better, I think, for scoring, but it's more convenient sometimes to just use the trimmer. I thought rather than swapping between them today, I would just do it on the trimmer. So I just go back and forth so that you get a nice deep score. Okay, so that's your 8 by 8, and it's scored at 2 inches all the way around. Then we've got the little offcut piece. So that one, sorry, I've just moved all my stuff out of the way. Here we go. Okay, that one is scored at 1.5. So again, I'm using, for cutting and scoring, you want it level up at the top, pushed up against that straight edge. So 1.5, then 3.5, and 5 inches. Just bring that across, and so I'm just bringing it across to that mark on the ruler, and 7 inches. And then we're going to turn it, and we're going to score at 1 and sorry, it's 7/8 on both sides. So 7/8. And conveniently, this also has measurements halfway down, so you can make sure you're not crooked. It is harder to get a skinnier piece of paper to remain straight on that straight edge, so you have got that ruler guide in the middle to help you. Okay, so that's 2 of our pieces made. Now, one of the next ones was actually a whole piece, and you can get 2 out of this. So I have already cut it at 6 inches. So you'll see that lines up with my 6-inch mark here. And now I'm going to turn it and cut it at 5 3/4. And then that one will make another box, but this one I'll use now. This one's going to be scored at 1 7/8 on all 4 sides. So this time we're going 1 7/8, so almost 2, because this box is going to fit inside the other one. Okay, that's that piece done. And then we have one piece that is kind of long. So we're going to cut this one at 6 inches to begin with. And then we're going to score it. So there's no other cut. The next thing to do is score. And we're going to score it at 3 7/8, so almost 4. Oh, now, when you're going to score, you have to move that cutting blade out of the way. Okay, 3 7/8, and then 5 3/4. 9 5/8. So 9 5/8 is there. And the last one is 11.5. So it's right on the edge. You just get a very thin little tab here, but it is enough. That's all you need. And then we're going to turn it and score at 1 7/8. Okay, now this piece here that we just cut off that side, we're going to create a small little reinforcer. So that is 2 1/4, which I think might be what I've got. That's what I've cut off. So we're just going to turn it that way, and we want 1 5/8 for the width. And then that gets scored at 3/8. 1 2 3. Actually, 1 2 3 there, which is like a centimetre, just around a centimetre. 1 2 3. So this is a little piece to make the part where the hole is. It's hidden underneath here. So it just reinforces that hole because you're going to be using that in and out with your glue. So that's that piece. Now I should have 5 pieces. 2, 3, 4, 5. I do. Okay, so we can put the trimmer away for now and do some cutting. Okay, so that piece stays as it is. Now this long one that we just cut and scored, we're going to angle this little tab at the top and also angle it at that intersecting point. So with a box, so what we're actually creating is this part here, the top piece, and I've got one made up just to show you. So with a box, you've got your tabs, which so I'll call the ones that get hidden inside are the tabs, and the ones that you see are the flaps. Okay, so this part here is this, and you've got the other half of that, the other piece underneath there to make it nice and sturdy. So the tabs, these smaller pieces, are the bits that get hidden inside. I don't know if you can see them down there in the bottom of the box. So those bits are the ones that we angle. So when you're creating a box, always leave your flaps straight and just angle your tabs, and I'll show you what I mean now. So this is a tab, and so I'm just doing that cut on an angle up to that point, and then I'll do the flap straight and angle the tab. And this just takes out a bit of the bulk and means that if you're not quite straight, or it doesn't quite, you haven't quite cut enough along your score line, then it just gives you a bit of wiggle room when you're making up the box. So again, we're going to go straight first because that's our flap, and we'll do the other flap as well. So that's, but we've created our tab, and now we're going to angle the tab on both sides. And that's why I angled that one as well, because that's a tab that's going to go on the inside and be hidden. Okay, so then on the squarish pieces, we could do the same thing. So these are your tabs, and this is the flap. So we're going to go up the flap and then angle like that. And then this time, this other piece was straight, so it was a bit different, but this one being a sort of a square, we're now going to turn the whole thing 90 degrees and do our next cut in tab and flap from this direction. And this also helps with getting rid of a bit of the bulk, and meaning that you haven't got all of your tabs on the same side. So if you did both of them the same, when you come to fold it up, they're going to overlap. But if you do it this way, they'll each be on a separate side of your box. So again, I just did that one. Now I'm just turning it 90 degrees, and you always work on the one on the right. And that's how I remember what to do. And cut that out, and then turn it again. Do your straight cut, and then your angle. And that's that one done. Now we'll just do this other one because it's exactly the same. So you'll get a repeat of that. So straight up on the flap, and then angle the tab. Turn it straight up and angle the tab. Okay, and then this piece We are not going to angle our tabs because it's actually this, so what we're making here is the actual Tombow holder, and it is nestled there inside the box, and the way it's constructed you actually don't need to worry about the tabs. So we're just going to cut each one straight. Till we get to the last one, so that one, we're just going to angle on that tab that will be hidden and cut out this corner like that. And the same on the other side, so we'll angle that and cut that straight. And cut these straight. Yeah, this one is totally hidden really, you don't see it. Okay, so that's all of our cutting. Now to put the actual, so the next thing to do would be to fold and burnish all of your score lines with your bone folder, just making sure as you do that that you're lining up the edges to make sure it's straight just before you add that final crease, because things can get a bit skewy. And if you fold it wrong, then it can be a bit tricky to get it back how you want it. Might have been easier to do these before we cut, but anyway, it's done now. It doesn't take a minute. And this one the same. So just line that up to make sure it's straight. Okay. See, this one here isn't quite straight. I suspect I haven't quite cut enough into that corner. So I'll just take another little sliver out of there. And now that will go straight. That's where I started. Okay, and final one. So we have to credit Barbara for the design of this box. I think she got some ideas from other demonstrators, and then she's an absolute whiz at making sure to get the most out of the paper. So she's designed it so that it just uses those 2.5 sheets. You've got this left over, which we're making tags from, and this piece, which will do another box if you're going to make 2. Or you can use that as a card front. So it's pretty economical, really. Now we start with the 8x8 square to make the outside of the box that everything else sits inside of. So just with some Tombow, just going to put some glue on, and then you're going to fold the tab up and tuck it behind the flap, and just make sure that that edge where they meet, the fold, is flush with the side of that flap, and just hold it for a few seconds. And you can use pegs, they're quite useful just to hold that while you move on to the next one, but you can just hold it. Doesn't take very long. And then we'll do the next one. Bit of glue. Make sure that's nice and flush, and hold it. And now you can see here what I was talking about before. So I've got one tab here and my other tab is over here. So if we'd done them both on the same side without turning as we cut, they'd both be here. So it just gives a nicer finish. Because you can also run into trouble here if they're not quite even. You end up trimming some of the length off, you know, to get them to sit beside each other. Okay, so it's a bit of an art to boxes. It's sort of something that you learn over time. Actually, I might just put a little dot in that corner. Some people don't like making boxes because they don't turn out. So there's all these little tips that hopefully will help you with other boxes as well. Okay, then we'll just tuck that last one in. Put the glue on. You can, if it's showing a little bit at the top, sometimes you get a little sliver of card just showing there. You can just move it slightly downwards, because we cut those angles off, there's a little bit of wiggle room there. You can just sort of slightly bend it down towards the base of the box and get rid of that piece sticking up over the top. But this one's worked out pretty well, actually. Okay, so there's our base all made. So now we can move on. Let's make the large one that sits in the back. Now this one, we're going to put our glue, we're going to use tear and tape, and we're going to put it on that skinny little flap, and I've just misplaced my tear and tape. Here we go. I had it at a class. Right. So the first thing is to get the tape onto the little tab. I've got a straight edge there, so I'm going to have to trim that. Now, it's going to overhang because our tab is quite thin. Don't worry about that. So, first of all, I'll just angle my edges so they match. Get rid of that little piece. And you'll see it's overhanging here. So, what you want to do is just peel off the backing. Discard that piece, and then we're just going to bring this towards us using our finger. Just bring that over, and it's like you've now got a double bit of glue there, and it tidies up the back so it's not going to stick to things that you put inside your box. Then to join it, if you fold that end flat like that, and then just bring across just that first panel. You can line it up along this edge, make sure it's straight, and it just meets perfectly there, and that's your join. Okay, so we now have that. Then we're going to put the two flaps to the inside. Those are the ones we've angled, and on the outside we're going to have one going down, the other one coming over, and we're just going to glue that one. So you can put the glue on here or on this piece, it doesn't really matter. The only thing to worry about really is to make sure you've got it square before you put that flap down. And with the liquid glue you do have a little bit of wiggle room if it's not quite right to move it slightly. Okay, so that's nice and secure, and then you can use either your glue or your bone folder just to add some pressure from this side as well, just to make sure that that's nicely stuck. Pressing down like this is easier than doing it this way. You can't put a lot of pressure there, but you can use something, use my end of my tombow, just to make sure that that's nicely connected. And then this join here will be at the back, so when you put this in your base box, put that join at the back, although in this particular case it would be hidden anyway, but it's nice to keep the front you know, as the good side, if you will. Okay, so now we can make this little box on the side here, and again it's just like the first one we did. So we've got our tabs, and we're going to bring that up, make sure that edge is meeting, and I do actually have a little bit sticking up here, so I'm going to just edge that downwards a little bit. I went too far. So my edge here isn't quite meeting as it was, but I've got rid of that bit sticking up at the top, which is probably more important. Okay, so then we'll do the next tab. That one's good, so we can leave it. Now here, I'm just going to tuck that last tab in before I do this one, so that it's easier to get back inside the box. This one's a wee bit smaller, and I found if I left that out, it was a bit more tricky. Now I've got a bit showing there at the top again, so we'll just smooch that down a bit. And then I've just got to get some glue in here. It's a little bit tricky, but quite doable. Great, and then that also goes in our caddy. It goes on that side, and you can swap the sides, of course. If you prefer your tombow on that side, then go ahead and make that change. Now this is the tombow holder, so we need to cut some holes in this. Now let me get the dies. Right, the die we're using is from the Stylish Shapes dies, the circle. Now I think it's that one. Let me just check. Yes. Okay, so we need to cut it twice. So we're going to do one from this little reinforcing piece and you'll see it's quite tight, but there is room, so I'm going to cut that one. And then on this piece I also need to cut a circle from there. Yes, from there. So you've got your tab, then you've got one of the sides of the box, and then this is the top. So we're going to cut it from the top. So I'll go away and do that and come back. Okay, so that's now well adhered, and I'm going to just redo my score lines because it's now at double thickness there and here. Just make sure they're straight still and just give it another burnish. Okay, so now we can do what we did before and get our tab on the end, put the glue on, and then fold this over, making sure it's nice and straight at both edges, and then it meets there. Oops, isn't quite straight. There we go. Okay, so now we have the hole at the top for your glue. And now for this box, we're going to do it slightly differently. Instead of putting in the shortest bits first, we're going to put in the long bits first. And this just gives added strength. Again, you're going to have that glue coming in and out. So this sort of is going to mean that you don't get pressure from this direction. These bits are going to hold it firm. If you had these in there first, and you're applying pressure from the top, it could bend. So put the long ones in first, they just overlap, and then these ones come down. Now they don't quite meet, but it's all going to be hidden in here. You won't see that because it's behind that panel and behind the back. So just put our glue on. And again, you're making sure that the whole thing is straight. And you can put it flat and again use your bone folder, back of your tombow, just to put some pressure on there. And you can reach through the hole as well, which is quite handy. And then the other side the same, so the long bits in first. And then again reach through that hole. This one's a bit more tricky because you can't really get inside with the tombow, so I'm just using my finger just to hold it, reaching through the hole. And then that is the tombow holder made, and it just slips into the box there, and that's all the parts done. Now we just need to decorate. So just before we go ahead and decorate, I'm going to just glue all of these pieces into the box. So just take it out, and it's you could put a little pencil mark to see where the glue needs to come up to, but you really glue even just part way up is going to be enough to hold it in there. It's really just to stop it moving around with all your things inside it. Or you might decide in your caddy you want to be able to remove the box. So now I'll just get rid of those two. So I'm just put glue on around each side, and then I'm just going to put some on the bottom as well. Actually, I probably should have only done 3 sides actually, because I've got these other ones to put in the front. So 3 sides, don't do the front. And then you'll find that the outer box is a little bit bigger than these inner boxes, but you can just squeeze it in and it will attach with that glue. And again, you can press down, stick that in. Now we've got the Tombow holder. So again, I'm just going to put, and this one actually you might want to be able to remove in and out, because it can be handy just to have on your desk. Oh, now I've put glue where I've already got glue. And slide that one in. So that attaches to there, to the front and to the side. And lastly, we've got our other little box. And 3 sides of that, because I've already got glue there. Slide it in. And I've just got a little bit of glue here, see, on the side of the Tombow holder. So I'm just going to rub that off with my finger. And then press that into position. And there you have it. Now we're going to cut the DSP. Now I've already actually cut mine, but I'll just show you. So with this particular pattern, it's directional because you've got words. So you want to make sure that the words are running in the right direction. So I've got my strip there pre-cut, and the size of that is 1 3/4. So I've taken my big 12 by 12, laid it on my trimmer at 1 3/4 and cut that with the words going long ways. Now I'm going to turn it and cut at 3 3/4 times 2. 3 3/4. So that's the front and the back, and 1 5/8 for the sides. Okay, so that's the pieces to decorate that. And then we've got, actually I might stick those on. So we only end up with a little leftover piece like that. And you can use that to create a tag, decorate a tag. So these pieces, so just make sure when you're sticking them that you get the writing in the right direction. And we're going to stick it so that there's an even border between the sides, so left to right and top, and not worry about the bottom. The bottom one will be slightly bigger, but it's all about maximizing the paper, and it's not a big deal. Okay, and then the other side. See, so I've just got a slightly bigger gap there, but that's fine. Right to the back. and the front. Now I'll just find the paper that I need for the last piece. Okay, so this time our pieces are all the same size. So we want 1 3/4 again for our width of the strip. And I need more than one, so I'm going to do 1 3/4 and match that up at the bottom. Cut that. And then in this direction we want it to be 3 3/4. Three and 3/4. So I get 3 from one length, and then I've got this other piece here for the last. And then you'll get one more out of that if you do another box. So we've got our 4 panels. And then it might just pay to have a look at them and see which one you want to use on the front, because that's the one that you're going to see the most of. I think I'll choose this one. And again, it's just a matter of making the edges all around about the same. Oops, don't wiggle it once you've done it. Such pretty paper. Be lovely to have this on the desk all the time with all your tools in it. There we go. It's made. That was it. Easy. So I hope you decide to make another one, either for yourself or for a friend. It would make a lovely gift for a fellow crafter. Thanks for watching.